welcome to Dragonfly Trading. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. My name is Carrie and I'm a full-time Elliott Wave trader in the crypto and Forex markets. Today's video is going to be an update on Bitcoin and ETH. Not a lot has changed, but we have this little pop to the upside and we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to quickly go over the corrections that we have left available to us. Now, whether you are calling this first move a expanded flat like this, or you're calling it a ABC like this, it doesn't matter. Both are three-wave moves, okay? Which means we started off with a three-wave move. Why? Because we broke the high. Because we broke the high, this being a five-wave move, this being a three-wave, and getting 5 more to the downside is invalid once we broke this high, because a B wave is not allowed to surpass the A wave of a zigzag. So we can take that one right off the table. What we have left available to us is that we're creating an ABC like this to the upside that can come way up into this expanded B pocket. Right here is the expanded B pocket, and this C can come past the 1.382. It just cannot touch the 1.618 and start closing candles there. If we do that, I'm going to be leaning that this is the bullish count and not a B wave. So basically, it would turn into A. This would all be B. And then we would come down for a C that's either a running flat that does not break the A, or it would be a little more bearish and we'd break the A and come deeper. I'm more leaning that if this happens, we would create the running flat. But let's wait till we get there, because this correction could not even happen. Have to put it out there though, because it is on the table. We do have one triangle left that's called a running triangle, where we have 3. The B breaks the A wave, comes up into the expanded B pocket. Then we get a C down, and I always use the wrong one. So A, B, we get a C, then we get a D, then we get an E, and then we moon for the 5th wave. Those are the corrections still left on the table. Now, the bull. The bull is that somehow we ended here. If you've been following me, and I say this every time, you know that I don't like this bottom. But, you know, if we ended there, we ended there. That's just the way it is, right? So we have 2 bull scenarios. The first one is we've created 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have finished 5, or we have another hit to the high for 5. This would be a little bit of an overextended 5th if this is the count. The other bull is that we created in 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, and it was a leading diagonal. We had a correction of an A, a B, and a C to the downside. This 5 is actually up here. And that this wave is the start of the 3rd. And that we're actually in the making of the 1 wave. So it would be a 1, a 2, and this would be a 1 and a 2. Now, this is getting awfully big. That is what has me a little concerned about this count. So with it getting awfully big, your second 1-2 should be smaller than your first 1-2. So we do not want it to get bigger than this one. But it's still possible. And what would happen is this 1 and this 2 would find support on top of this one. That's what we needed to do. And then we would get 3, 4, 5. This is obviously would be higher. Like this. And that would be a higher degree. Invalidation for this being a 1-2, 1-2 is breaking this low. But as soon as we start cracking into this one, if it happens, it's going to be more and more less likely that that is the count. Okay? But we would still have the other 5 wave on the table. Because there's 2 bull scenarios. We would still have this one. Which means if we came down for a wave 2, we could come pretty deep because the invalidation for that one is all the way down here. Okay? All right. So we've went over the bull and the bear scenarios that we still have left. Let's see if RSI can tell us anything. The daily has found support on the 50. I talked about back here how finding support on the 50 is very bullish. We can push down to the 40 and be okay, but 50 is best. So if we can pivot from here, this is bullish and best. If we roll over down to the 40, okay, it's all right. We did it over here. I just don't want to see the daily break 40. Okay, let's talk about this count. So this is where the second potential wave 1 starts. And first thing I want to talk about is time. If this is a 4th wave, it would mean that we're correcting this entire wave 3. And when you pull a time fib on it, and let me change that to white so you can see it. This 0.33 is the minimum requirement that a 4th should hit, meaning that it should take at least this amount of time. And we should be coming down into it. So basically, if we were going to end there, it should have been sort of like this. And then the C came right into it. Or we go past it because this is minimum requirement. We should never come up into it. So that's one thing that has me kind of leaning what's going on. Another thing is Bitcoin, when you pull a fib extension on this first correction here, it hit the 786. That's not really an extension for Bitcoin. ETH, yes, ETH likes the 786, but Bitcoin usually hits the 1-to-1, 1.236, 1.382. So when this was coming down, I was pretty convinced that we were going to come into this green order block, or this one. And plus, just the way it looked like it needed another rollover to the downside. But it didn't do that, did it? It said, sorry, Charlie, not doing that. So let's talk about it. So on the 1 hour time frame, we do have, let's see, this bearish divergence. Okay. Pay attention to that. And let's talk about what I think's going on here. When I look at this bottom down here, and I'm going to get in a little closer here. This looks all three wavy to me. That's why I felt like it was a fourth and it was going to get a fifth to the downside. When I look at this wave thinking, well, okay, maybe it's a truncation. Very hard to make any type of diagonal or expanded diagonal or anything of that nature out of that. It's difficult. Could it be possible? It could be, but I'm more leaning towards at the moment that we're creating a flat to the upside. Okay. Now, I really don't want to see it give us another hit to the high. If it gives us another hit to the high, I'm going to be more leaning that somehow this is the ugliest truncated fifth in the world. And we've started something new here. So if we've started something new, because 5 waves is always the start of something or the end of something. So if we've started something new, and I'm going to take this stuff off here for a cleaner chart. There's a couple things that can happen. We could make an A, a B, and a C to the upside. And then we may have a 3 wave, and then we either get 5 or 3 back down to the downside, and we end up getting to this order block. That's one option. Another option is that this is a flat and it's done. And we've got a 3 wave. This probably is an X. And then we're going to get a 3 wave down into that order block. Now, yes, can it get more ugly? Yes, it can. Especially if we don't take off bullish and we just get a correction. Because then we're going to need a partner for this one down. So yes, it can get more ugly, but we take it wave by wave, okay? Because there's a few things that can happen here for sure. And there's one other one left that's even more a little bit bearish, and that's that it's creating a 1-2-1-2. Okay? And that's where this is the first 1-2 and this is the second 1-2. Now, if we break over this high right here, this bearish option, invalid. Completely invalid the minute we break over that, okay? So remember that. And I'm not quite leaning towards that bearish option anyway. I'm more leaning that we're either going to do an ABC up, and then this is going to be an A, a B, and a C, or it's a W, X, and a Y now. Let's talk about if Bitcoin just ended at the 786, and that's just the way it's going to be, and this is a new start of something. So invalidation for that would be this low. Okay. So if we get another hit to the high for another fifth wave, I will be looking, say we get another hit to the high, I will be looking for a pullback. If it's controlled ABC, WXY, then not financial advice, but I think you get the picture here. Okay? I don't know why I won't re-erase that. All right. So that is the just of Bitcoin, guys. This is either a flat here that's done, or we're going to get another hit to the high and it's just going to be overextended a little bit, or this is the start of something. And we're going to get a controlled three-wave move down. And then I kind of gave you a hint here. Okay? The more deeper we come with a correction, the less likely it's going to be a wave 2 or a B. Or, I mean, the deeper it comes and the longer it takes, I'm going to be leaning more B. That's what I meant. Okay, so let's take a look at ETH. Now, ETH has the same exact corrections. It has the option of the ABC, and we're getting very close to this 618, which it could very well be what it's doing here, maybe giving us another hit to the high. And then it has this three wave here. This would be three waves. For a B, we'd come down for C. It would either be the running flat or it would break lower into this fourth wave for an expanded flat, but I'm more leaning the running. We have the triangle also. A, B, C, D, E. Okay. Okay, so let's dig into this lower part. Talk about it. Bitcoin came to the, ETH came to the 786 also, which is common of ETH. So that really doesn't, you know, send me for a loop in any means. And this correction is different. Okay. We have three waves, and then this here was an expanded flat. But I've got the same problem right here. It's very choppy, and trying to make a ending diagonal out of that is difficult. Not that it isn't one, it's just it's difficult. So with ETH2, I'm leaning that this is a flat. And because it broke the bottom, well, actually, we're right at the place where I don't really want it to go any higher. So, with that said, looks like ETH's got one more hit to the high here. We need to watch it for what type of correction is it giving us. Is it giving us a very controlled ABC down? which would suggest that this is the start of something. Stop loss, and you get the picture without financial advice. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it gave you some clarity. Now both Bitcoin and ETH have some bearish divergence, so pay attention to that. Okay? It could be that this is just a three-wave move, and that what we're actually going to do here is make this all an X wave or a B wave, okay, and come down to the downside. So even though this looks very bullish, there's always a bear scenario. So let me know in the comments what you thought, and I'll see everybody in the next one.